Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. 30% of Americans who are planning home improvements of $5,000 or more will pay for those renovations with a high-interest credit card. That may not be a great idea. A better idea may be to take cash out of your home with a Quicken Loans 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.125%. APR 4.22%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rate subject to change. 8.88% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Too Close to Call is a sports talk radio show brought to you by Kevin Mahalik, featuring commentary on the week's biggest sports news and events and engaging behind-the-scenes player interviews. While specializing in Philadelphia sports, Too Close to Call will also discuss issues and events happening on a national scale. Too Close to Call airs Tuesday from 1 to 2 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m.
Aloha and hello everybody. What's going on? This is Kevin Mahalik, your host of Too Close to Call, the sports talk radio show here on USALA Media and USALA Radio. It is just after 1 o'clock on October 1st, and listening to Bone Thugs, my friends there in the background, everybody wake up. It's the first of the month. Here we go, starting fresh with October. If you guys out there are trying to start something new, trying to kick a habit, lose weight, do whatever you're doing, today's the perfect day to do it, because I know at the end of the month it's only filled with candy and chocolates and sweets and everything else for Halloween and what's going on. So I myself, I'm trying to jumpstart something here on the 1st, and hopefully you guys listening out there are doing the same. But welcome back once again, everybody. If this is your first time listening in a few weeks, I'll just take a second here to break down some of the recent structural changes that we have here at Too Close to Call. As you guys heard in the audio in the intro, we are currently live on Facebook. So if you guys are listening out there on the website or the application and you have the option to head to Facebook, please do so. Type in USALA Media or USALA Radio. That's USALA Radio into the search bar. You'll see the company page there, and then you'll be able to look at my beautiful face as I'm talking to you here and not just listen through your headphones or on the radio, or even if you're at work through the computer. So I appreciate you guys doing that. But if not, no big deal. I'll be talking to you guys here for the next 55 minutes to an hour from 1 to 2 o'clock today. And as I talked about those structural changes, what I was alluding to was that this hour here, Tuesday from 1 to 2, has now become the Philadelphia Sports Hour. And the weekend shows from 8 to 9 in the morning will be more on the national scope. Saturdays, we focus right now, obviously being at early October, on the college football landscape. As we move forward towards the end of the month into November, obviously basketball, the NBA, college basketball, as well as the NHL and hockey will have a little bit more airtime, and hockey starting definitely sooner than basketball, with them getting underway here in the next week or so. And Sunday, obviously, we talk about the National Football League and fantasy football, and some of your roster decisions, who should you start that day, some of the matchups we like, kind of where we're at across the league. So today on Tuesday, hopefully you're tuning in because you are a Philadelphia sports fan. You are mainly a Philadelphia Eagles fan. That's obviously where we'll start for the first half hour or so of the show here. The 2-2 Philadelphia Eagles go into Green Bay, get a heck of a victory against Aaron Rodgers on a Thursday night on a short week in a game where a lot of people, including myself, honestly, were not giving them that much of a chance to win that game, because going into it, we all know what happened now, so I'm not going to do my normal kind of routine of going through what happened during the game, because the Thursday game and not the Sunday game has given you guys a lot of time to listen to the post-game podcast breakdowns. You've seen the game, you've looked at the film. So what I decided to do today was break down each position and then kind of where we're at now that we're at the quarter pole of the National Football League season. And, 16 games, we're about 4 games in, so now you're starting to get a little bit of a trend and not so much of an outlier as you're learning kind of which teams and who they really are for the 2019 season, because, we have some thoughts and off-season expectations, and some teams have lived up to them, some teams have not, and I would put the Philadelphia Eagles kind of right in the middle of that pendulum, because we saw week one when everybody was healthy. Yes, they got off to a slow start, but came back, really showed their potential in the second half against Washington, then traveled to Atlanta. Obviously, the injury bug hits on multiple skill position players on the offense, and now they have the short week, or no, then they get Detroit at home, where those gentlemen aren't able to play. Goddard gives it a shot, and then the short week in Green Bay, where Alshon Jeffrey gets back. So I think we've seen through the quarter pole that when healthy, this offense and this team is obviously something to be messed with in the NFL, and one of the best teams there is out there. Case in point, a Thursday road win at Green Bay. But there is that injury concern moving forward, and the schedule gets a little tougher in the next 4 games or so, and we'll touch on that. But like I mentioned, wanted to kind of break down position by position my thoughts on the Eagles, where we're at this this moment in time, and where else to start but the quarterback position. Carson Wentz. Carson, he finally got his signature moment, got his signature win on Thursday night. Honestly, I think it's the best win of Carson Wentz's career, because looking back at last year, he didn't really have that marquee victory or comeback win or tough road victory. And the year before, when he got hurt, when they were making their Super Bowl run, I think the biggest win was probably also on a Thursday night in the Carolina Panthers game, in a game in which I don't think they were favored as well, went on the road and won a tough football game on a short week. So kudos to Carson Wentz, because I know he's been going through a tough time. I'm sure he is, just based on the feedback that's happening across the Delaware Valley, because the Eagles lead the NFL in dropped passes, and that can fall directly back on the quarterback if he's not mentally tough enough to work around some of those issues. Because you say, hey, he didn't win the game, he didn't put him in position, but really, if his receivers catch the football, he's looking much better than he is right now. And I have some stats written down, and he's only at a 60.7 completion percentage for 963 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. So the touchdown to interception ratio is fantastic, and that's certainly an issue that Carson Wentz had in the past, was specifically early in games. He tried to force balls and was throwing them into tight windows, and it really was some difficult passes that were ended up being tipped and going the other way. So for him to kind of improve in that area, learn how to check the football down, maybe not force as many passes into tight windows, all of this has led to Carson being the 5th best rated passer, according to Pro Football Focus. And I know some of you listeners out there are probably not the biggest fans of Pro Football Focus, and I have certain issues and certain doubts with it as well, depending on which statistical categories you're looking at. But it is a well-respected website out there, a well-respected kind of breakdown of film, grades. A lot of the high-level media and analysts use it to help sway kind of their conversation or what they're trying to drive. So I like to look at it, kind of reference, just see where people are at. I don't take it for everything, and I kind of look at how to nitpick and kind of dissect all the information they give you. But certain categories, such as best rated passer, are definitely something that's worth talking about. But Carson Wentz, he's been at an MVP level, and this win, particularly this season, if it jumpstarts them moving forward into a little bit of a winning streak, or they kind of get everybody back, get to that 11-5, maybe win the division, advance in the playoffs, they're going to look back to this week as the week where ultimately it kind of changed the guard, because the difference from 1-3 to 2-2 is astronomical. And on the podcast, if you guys listen on the side on our Apple podcast, 2Close2Call, the number 2 both times, you guys can click there. We do episodes outside of just the 3 times a week here at USALA Media and USALA Radio. And I broke down a statistic where I think it was the last 4 times the Eagles were 2-2, they went on to make the playoffs and finish above 500, or they missed it the one year, I think, when Chip Kelly ended 10-6 and they missed the playoffs. But every time they've been 1-3 the past 4 or 5 times, they've missed the playoffs, finished 9-7 at best, 7-9. So this really was a swing game, even more so that 0-2 kind of record. Honestly, 1-3 may be worse than 0-2, because you can get to 2-2 and kind of reset from there. But Carson Wentz, stay healthy, keep playing, keep managing the game. Only 160 yards. Obviously, that's due to the turnovers and the short fields that they had to work with, but no turnovers is the big thing. And a road game, Thursday night, hostile environment, hold on to the football, don't turn the ball over, you're going to have a chance to win the game. And he did that, and it was fantastic to see, and it's only going to give him confidence, because if you look at the schedule, Jets at home. Yes, everybody knows New York's not that great. But the following 3 weeks, because the NFL thought that Bryce Harper was going to be fantastic and Jake Arrieta was going to bounce back to being himself, thought that the Phillies would obviously be playing postseason baseball. Thus, 3 straight road games for your Philadelphia Eagles in the month of October, with at Minnesota, at Dallas, and at Buffalo. Buffalo's one of those teams where about a month ago you'd be saying easy W. Now they're 3-1 with a tough loss to the Patriots. And we're going, hey, wait a minute, not so fast here. So next 4 games, 2-2 would be okay, kind of like these first 2. We'll take it depending on how it goes, but you really want to be 3-1 with a win over the Jets, and then obviously 2 of the next 3 out of Minnesota, Dallas, and Buffalo. But transitioning through the positions, keep it rolling here. Miles Sanders starting to come around, a little bit slow. Rookie, obviously, he's shown he has all the talent. You can see the burst. The first couple of weeks, obviously, wanted to bust everything outside, bounce everything outside. You guys saw that. There was a lot written about it, spoken about it. Wasn't hitting the hole because in college, his athleticism, he's able to get outside and get around these defenders. Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Sanders, at the NFL level, these linebackers are running 4.5, 4.6s, so you're not going to get that corner on that 3-star kid from Indiana, okay? You got to hit the hole, run where the blockers are blocking it, and understand that 4 to 5 yards is a fantastic play sometimes in the NFL because you stay ahead of the chains, ahead of the downs. 2nd and 6 is a hell of a lot better than 2nd and 10 because every 1 out of 5 times you bounce it, you hit a big play. Keep it moving, keep it going forward, keep your offensive linemen happy more so than anything because the last thing you want is offensive linemen blocking the crap out of a play, causing a huge hole, and then you miss the hole because you want to bounce it outside. That's not a huddle you want to be in. I've been in those huddles. Now, granted, it wasn't at the NFL level, but where there's huge human beings very angry at smaller human beings. And as the quarterback, you're trying to get in between, and it's not fun. So, Mr. Sanders, run the play how it's supposed to be run, hit the hole. You'll continue to hit the big play. You're good enough. It's going to happen. All you need to do now, hold on to the football. Okay, if you have to walk around the city of Philadelphia with a football in your hands and let every fan out there try to strip it from you, like they don't know you're coming, they're just going to run up behind you and try to pop it up from behind or something. But, dude, twice during one series against the Lions, obviously only lost one of them because how often do you ever see somebody fumble twice? They never get back on the field after the first one. Well, they put them back in to show confidence, and boop, there's another one on the ground. So, hold on to the football. You're going to get your touches. You're going to get your chances, and we're going to need you. So the other side of the thunder and lightning and the thunder, that is Jordan Howard, my man, starting to figure it out a little bit too. And honestly, the Eagles are using him in ways I don't think opposing teams are expecting. I mean, we saw the guy catch a touchdown pass, and I think he had like 4 catches his entire time in Chicago or something. Now, I know that's an exaggeration. Somebody out there is going to tweet me the exact number, but he didn't have many, okay? You get it out there, all right? So Jordan Howard, though, hitting those holes, Thursday against the Packers, huge holes. I saw a picture online. Somebody did a GIF. I forget who it was. I wish I could give you credit. I really do. But they paused it where the hole was, and they photoshopped like 8 to 10 Jordan Howards and showed that 8 of him could make it through this hole. That's how big it was. And it really was fantastic just to see kind of, the unspoken style of football to where if you can run the football, dictate the line of scrimmage, everything on your offense goes off of that. And kudos to Jordan Howard because, like I said, catching a touchdown pass, he's not known for that. Had a few more touchdown runs, 3 touchdowns on the night, I believe it was. He set some records. There was the first one since like 1970 to have 3 touchdowns on the road. And we didn't see a lot of Darren Sproles. And after week 1, everybody's going, Darren's getting 10 touches against the Redskins. What the hell's going on? Again, that was scheme. That was specific to the opponent. And good teams in the National Football League do this, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, they don't look at their team and say, this is what we do well. This is what we're going to do. Please stop it. Because at this level, people stop it. Okay, that may work for the Ohio States of the world, the Alabamas of the world against that competition. But in the National Football League, you have to look at each specific opponent, figure out where they're weakest or where they can be, liable for holes or deficiencies, and attack those areas. And against the Washington Redskins, they are stout up the middle and up the front and a little bit weak on speed, side to side, running outside. So what does Doug do? He does that. Obviously, Green Bay, we've seen on the tape, Minnesota Vikings, ran all over them. Denver Broncos, Philip Lindsay, ran all over them. So what are you going to do? You're going to run the football. And this can kind of parlay into the next two gentlemen I was talking to, Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert at the tight end position, because Dallas Goedert back and blocking, oh my God, was it impressive. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any ability to go back, look at film, or rewatch the game, watch when they go in 12 personnel, which means one running back and two tight ends, or even 13 personnel sometimes, one running back, three tight ends. They actually used Big Vitae, as the third tight end, extra lineman. It happened when they were on their own 1 yard line. If you remember, they actually ran the same play. I think it was literally 3 times in a row and got out to like the 17-yard line. Well, the play they were running is called a wham scheme, which means you get a tight end at one end of the formation, and you bring him across to block a defender in the middle who you leave free with your front lineman. So essentially, you get a guard who lets go of the defensive tackle and tries to get up on the linebacker right away. And then you leave that tight end to come in and hit the defensive tackle from a different angle, not head-to-head. And what this does is it typically allows you as an offense to put a smaller individual, your tight end, blocking a bigger individual in the defensive tackle. Obviously, one-on-one straight ahead, tight end's going to lose that battle. But when you get the D tackle coming up field, maybe not looking left to right, looking for this tight end, and he gets hit, he's able to at least create a wall there, even if he's not moving them. And so you get a smaller guy on a bigger guy. Well, you also get a bigger guy on a smaller guy because your guard is now getting up to that linebacker right away. So it's advantage for the offense, and that's why it's difficult to defend as a defender. You have to be very disciplined at defensive tackle. Fletcher Cox is fantastic at this because they do it to him all the time on the other side, because you have to realize once I'm not blocked immediately, it's either A, a screen, or B, a trap block, because they don't just not block stud defensive tackles, okay? You're not just going to get a free shot at the quarterback. So the moment you don't feel a block, Fletcher's fantastic at turning and absorbing that block and closing that hole for the other team not to get through it, which is why their run defense has been spectacular on the back end. But multiple plays, Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, both in the wham scheme, both blocking, huge difference maker. And we saw it. I like this. I'm flowing right into the wide receivers. This is good stuff here. So we saw it. They went 12-13 personnel, which meant that Nelson Aguilar was not on the field nearly as much as he was the first couple of weeks, because I think he had 1 catch or 0 catches or something like that, or 1 target, 2 targets. But in the second half was barely on the field, because in weeks past, we've seen the drops. We had the catch fumble that it would have been better if it was a drop. I wish he would have dropped that one. My God, dude, even when he doesn't drop it, he somehow does worse. It's so frustrating, Nelson. It's so frustrating. But it's either risk reward with him. Huge plays, breaking tackles, deep balls, or dropping passes for first down. So basically, Doug said, we're going to try to run the football. We're going to establish the run, because not only can Goddard block anybody who's in there, but he can also catch the football. And we saw that down in the red zone with his first touchdown of the year. And even last week against the Lions, a should-have-been touchdown if he just turns his hands. Like, what's he doing? Just turn your hands, Dallas. Come on, man. But we need him to stay healthy. Obviously, with the calf, it looked as best as it has this year. With a long week here, 10 days, we think he should be good to go against the Jets. Wide receivers touched on it. Nelson Aguilar, I don't think we'll see him next year. I know we're jumping around here, but keep an eye on him this year. But I don't think the Birds are going to pay him. So in the back of your mind, just keep that in mind. Nelson, I love you, man. Great guy from what it seems, hard worker, but just too feast or famine for my liking if I was running the football team. But rest of the receivers, Alshon Jeffrey, what a gamer, dude. What what a gamer. I mean, you saw the guy on the sidelines clearly limping, clearly in pain, goes out, balls out, catches a touchdown, catches another key third down conversion on one of the drives in the games. And then Deshaun Jackson just needs to get healthy. It's what needs to happen in order for them to ultimately click as an offense and really feel good about themselves going into the Minnesota games, the Dallas game, the Buffalo game. So if you need to sit him one more time against the Jets, you could probably get away with it. I don't like it, but you could probably get away with it. Try to bring him back healthy for the Vikings, Cowboys, and Bills, like I said. So last guys, touched on him in passing, big uglies on the offensive side of the ball. They've all been tremendous. Isaac Seumalo at the left guard spot had his worst game of his career, week 2 against the Atlanta Falcons. People were ready to write him off. We had touched on about how he had an excellent camp, how he was looking to make the Pro Bowl, and then just like that, worst game of the year. It was like the 2Close2Call curse. The moment I bring something up, just down into the tank. It's what happens. So, whenever I praise somebody, just be ready for their next performance to not be a good one. But let's see. Jason Peters shutting me up. Huge fan of him shutting me up. Please continue to do it, Jason. He's only missed 10 snaps all year, is believe what I read on Pro Football Focus. Has not allowed a sack, only 6 pressures on 165 snaps. So for me saying I don't think he's going to start and finish 10 games, well, he's 4 for 4 pretty much. So we need you, man. Keep doing your thing. Jason Kelsey, all-pro once again, no sacks, only 1 hit allowed on 175 snaps. Brandon Brooks, 8 months off an Achilles injury, top-rated guard, Pro Football Focus. Can we pause for like 2 seconds and realize how ridiculous that is? We got a 350-pound human being coming off an Achilles injury, which is not a large ligament at all. And 8 months later, I'd probably just be walking, and this guy's blocking other 300-pound humans, so there's got to be like 1,000 pounds of torque going down on this Achilles and whatnot. It's fascinating what the human body can do for some of these these individuals. And yes, their therapy and all that is above and beyond, I understand. But still, unbelievable what's going on there. Lane Johnson, he's the man. We don't even need to talk to him. That's how he wants it. Keep doing your thing. Meat, steak, potatoes, no supplements, no nothing. Okay, good. We need you. Moving on. Transition into defense here. I'd love to hear from you guys out there what the bigger concern is, D-line or secondary. I'm gonna think about it here. Let me take a brief sip of water. But both concerns, obviously, depending on what you care about most. You could go one way or the other. We'll run through it kind of quickly. D-line, Brandon Graham, Derek Barnett, pretty good. Maybe not great, but I don't know. They haven't gotten the sack numbers. A ton of pressures. 3 tackles for loss for Brandon Graham, 24 hurries. Derek Barnett did get the strip sack fumble on Aaron Rodgers, huge play. Also had the idiotic play early of the personal foul where he hit the guy helmet to helmet or whatever. Lucky to not get suspended, I suppose. But there's kind of mark 1, 3 strikes and you're out type of thing. That's at least mark number 1 on him. Inside, Fletcher Cox. Fletch, not 100%, still really, really good. Not the Fletcher Cox we're accustomed to. I think as he continues to get back in game shape, get fresh, and he'll play his best football at the tail end of the year, which is ultimately what you want. So just kind of keep that motor going, keep getting better, Fletch. We'll feel you later, because on the other side of him, with the injuries to Tim Jernigan and Malik Jackson, Hassan Ridgeway has had to fill in, and he has not been good. This is a problem area, this second defensive tackle position, because you have to go to Ridgeway, and what they've been doing, these next 2 individuals, or 3 individuals, the last 3 on the D-line, but Vinnie Curry, Josh Sweat, and Akeem Spence. It seems to me they've been moving Curry in a little bit more than Sweat, kind of rotating him in with Spence. Spence is the guy they signed from the Dolphins after the injuries, but it's really been a trouble spot. It hasn't hurt them yet, because Fletch and everybody else has stopped them running the football, but they haven't been getting that pass rush from that position that they wanted from Jackson, or they've even gotten from Jernigan in the past. So truly getting pressure from that front 4 hasn't been there all year. there's no help coming, guys. There's nobody out there that we can sign, trade for. This is it. These guys are going to have to figure it out. I'm going to have to continue to battle. Jim Schwartz is honestly going to have to continue to blitz. I think it's the only way they're going to get pressure. But the hurries, the pressures, eventually the sacks will come. They'll play some quarterbacks who maybe aren't as good as Rodgers, Ryan, Stafford. I mean, those are three pretty good freaking quarterbacks out of the first 4 weeks. And, you saw what they did to Keenum, in the second half, more in particular than the first half. But if they get a guy who holds the ball, they could get after it a little bit. So continued areas of concern, man. This whole defense, it's just like, oh, I thought I'd feel good about the linebackers. I don't. There's trouble there, too. Nigel Bradham, Zach Brown, good in the run game, horrible in the pass game. If you watch the film, their pass coverage at the linebacker position is terrible. As you've seen teams, they really attack inside the numbers on those individuals. Nate Gary, he can't play the run. He can only play the pass, and the other guys can only play the run and not the pass, vice versa. It's just you know what you're getting from the guys because they don't have people who can do it all. And that's where the offense is at the advantage because they see your personnel and go, okay, he's good at pass, not at run. Maybe we should run the ball here. And Camus Grugier-Hill was on a pitch count Thursday, his first game. He looked fast. He made some plays. He was a baller in training camp and in the preseason, and he hasn't been in the past, so it's a little kind of pump the brakes on if he's going to make a difference, but there is that potential for him to step up and really be that second linebacker next to Bradham who can play almost every snap, and we don't have to worry about this rotation and what's been going on there anymore. But last group on the back end, secondary corners, Ronald Darby. Oh, boy, Ronald Darby. I was a fan of Ronald's until right about now. So he's just hurt all the time. He was hurt last year. On paper, he's the most athletic, the fastest, kind of the best corner we have. And then you watch him play. You saw every team attack him when he was in the game. Atlanta went at him all the time. Should have had 3 touchdowns. He was going against the Lions game again. Then he got hurt. And when Ronald Darby doesn't play over the last 2 years, the Birds are 13-3. Now, I'm not as it's not as clear as 1 + 1 = 2, but there's certainly a correlation when you get to 16 games and not 3, 4, 5, or 6. Like I said, it's a little bit more than an outlier. It's kind of a pattern. So him not playing, maybe it's not the worst thing in the world. Jalen Mills doesn't seem anywhere close to back. He's not practicing. He's not doing anything. Vontae Maddox, up and down. First off, prayers up. Avante seems to be doing okay. He was moving all his extremities after that friendly fire hit he got from Sandejo. Word was he flew home with the team that night, so it truly, I guess, wasn't as serious as all the precautions they were taking on the field, which obviously understandable. But there were those reports coming out that he was moving and he was able to fly back. So that's a good thing. And if you have to stay back for tests and have trouble that way, that's when it really gets to be concerning. So him coming back week to week, don't expect to see him Sunday, probably 2 to 4 weeks with him. But he was up and down even before he got hurt. So Sidney Jones, hurt once again, another hamstring. I mean, does this guy even have hamstrings? Like, they're healthy, and then when he tries to run, he hurts them every time. Like, should we change up the calisthenics or the warm-up? Like, we got to do something here, Sidney, because you keep playing 2 quarters of football. You're worse than Jason Peters. He's 40 years old. You're 22, dude. Come on. What are we doing here? So, Rasul Douglas is the team's best corner, and then that's clear. And he can't run. We've seen that. We've seen him get beat, but he tackles. He's typically got some close coverage. Yes, he's a little handsy, grabs a little bit. We saw that with some pass interference on Thursday, but ultimately gets it done, and that's what you're looking for. So my man Craig James. Who? Craig James. Who? Craig James. Play of his life. He's in one time. One play. Everybody knows where the ball's going. If you've played it all, hey, the backup's in. He's not very good. He's a backup. That's how it works. Jenkins went to him. Graham went to him. The ball's coming your way, man. Makes a play. Picked off in the end zone. Pretty unbelievable. The safeties have all been good for the Birds. Jenkins, McLeod, Sandejo, he's played a little bit more than I thought he would. They obviously just traded Jonathan Cyprien to Atlanta for another linebacker who's going to play more special teams. So they're liking what they're seeing out of Sandejo, and I think he's going to be around. But special teams, Jake Elliott, 4 for 4 on field goals, 10 for 10 on extra points. By the way, I don't think anybody said this on the extra points. Little note, he's moved from the middle to the left hash. because whenever he misses, he pushes balls. So what do? You move over so you can push it a little bit. And it goes right through the middle. Nobody said that. Fantastic idea by whoever it was, because every extra point he misses right, and he's not doing it anymore because he moved to the left. Kind of weird how that works. I thought that was hysterical as the NFL. Hey, why don't we just move over if you keep missing that way? Just hit the same freaking ball, and it'll go in instead of you missing every time. Oh, that's a good idea, Coach. Why don't we do that? Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that. 10 for 10. Oh, God. But Cameron Johnston, the punter, he's dynamite. We were worried about Donnie Longball. Nothing to be worried about. So that's where we're at with the Birds. 2-2. Happy to be 2-2. I think we saw them at 2-2. Some of us did, at least. Now we saw them losing to Atlanta and Green Bay and not Detroit. But ultimately, I think a win on the road in a tough environment Thursday on Green Bay is probably the win you want if you had to pick one of the two between the Lions and Packers. So, like I said a couple times, the Jets coming in. A lot to look forward to. Got to get that one. Maybe they have Sam Darnold. Maybe they don't. He's still got some mono. Too much partying up there in Manhattan. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he plays. Maybe he doesn't. Le'Veon Bell, shut him down. Should win the football game. After that, we get the Minnesota Vikings, Dallas Cowboys, Buffalo Bills. And the only outlier is if Jalen Ramsey's going to be on the team. But Jacksonville doesn't want to trade him. Apparently turned down 2 first-rounders because they're going to be too close to number 32. That was either the Birds or the Chiefs. So we're going to have to give up more than that, and I don't think you're going to want to. But anyway, guys, thanks for listening. First segment here at USALA Media, USALA Radio, Too Close to Call, talking Birds, 2-2, baby. Come back next Tuesday. We'll break down the Jets, and we'll keep talking football. But catch us on the other side here. Appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. 30% of Americans who are planning home improvements of $5,000 or more will pay for those renovations with a high-interest credit card. That may not be a great idea. A better idea may be to take cash out of your home with a Quicken Loans 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.125%. APR 4.22%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rate subject to change. Pay 0.88% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Welcome back, everybody, to this next segment of Too Close to Call here on USALA Media and USALA Radio. If you're listening to Bone Thugs in the background, you are indeed hearing it is Tuesday, October 1st, just after 1:30 in the afternoon here. So hopefully you're enjoying a beautiful day today out there. We got one more day of summer coming tomorrow. How about that, huh? In the 90s. Are you kidding me, Mother Nature? In the 90s. Then they're going to throw a sprinkle of rain, a little bit of fall weather for the weekend. So honestly, that warm weather works out perfect for this next segment because we're going to wrap up the summer. That's what we're doing. We're talking fighting Phils, Philadelphia Phillies. Dunzo, 81-81, the definition of mediocrity at its finest. After an unobjectively excellent offseason, I believe it was, they have turned into pure mediocrity. And like I mentioned, guys, I literally just checked because I was assuming something would happen by now. But 1:33 here on Tuesday, and we got no decision on Gabe Kapler. And, oh, God, I can't take it because the longer this goes, the higher the odds I think they're going to keep him. I think they're trying to figure out a way to spin it to us fans to keep this guy here. And they can't do it. They can't. I cannot take Gabe Kapler and this positivity of everything's okay. There's always tomorrow. We're going to try hard. We're fighting till the end. Who cares, dude? You got to win baseball games, all right? And I need somebody to get in their face and tell Rhys Hoskins to figure it out, okay? Because you hit 220, I think it was, in the second half of this season. And you're our four-hole hitter. You're our homegrown talent who we're pairing with Bryce Harper, and you're going to go out there and hit 220 over the course of 3 months. You can't look in the mirror, go to the batting cage, and figure it out on your own over the course of 3 months. I'm not sure you're a professional baseball player because I was listening to some interviews. I was listening to John Kruk talk on one of the postgame episodes, and he said, I knew I was a big league hitter when I could fix myself and get out of slumps. Reese didn't show that at all over the course of 3 months. And we even changed hitting coaches to Charlie Manuel to try to maybe get a different voice for him to figure it out. And honestly, at the end of the day, you got to do it yourself because they can overload you with all this analysis. They have all this video now. They have all these tendencies, all these analytics. And yeah, oh, you take pitches. You're great at it. You're fantastic. You're working counts. You see the most pitches. Well, you know what, dude? That means you're staring at fastballs. You got to hit fastballs. It's what you were brought up here to do. And in a year where the home run record was broken by not only, I think, 3 individual teams, the Twins, the Yankees, a couple of other teams broke team records for home runs, it happened across all of Major League Baseball. Thousands of home runs were hit, or hundreds more than last year and the year before. In a juice baseball, one of our power hitters and our four-hole hitter isn't hitting 30 home runs? Are you kidding me, Rhys Hoskins? That's unbelievable. You came up, and I think you hit 10 in like 2 weeks when you first got here. And now your swing's all futzed up to the point where you can't even hit 30 in a year, and you can't figure it out, dude. You got worse, man. You got worse. Come on, dude. Figure it out. Put the ball in the tee. Figure it out. It's just Bryce Harper. Everybody was riding this guy for the first couple of months, first half of the year. He was the only guy who played hard and the only guy I'm proud to call Philly this year. He played hard till the last game of the season. There were games in Washington while they're getting swept in a 5-game series, by the way, Gabe Kapler. Okay, yeah, they're playing hard for you down the stretch. We could sweep a 5-game series, get right back in the playoffs, and you get swept, and you're going to bring this guy back after his second straight September collapse? Oh, Matt Klentak, if you get him back, the fire's coming to you, baby. It's coming at you when USALA Radio comes back in the spring. I'll tell you that much. But 2 straight September collapses. Bryce Harper's playing his tail off, trying to do everything he can, even in games where we're getting our butts kicked, and nobody else is buying in. Nobody else is doing anything. And the problem with the coaching staff is there was an excellent article that was written on The Athletic. If you guys are subscribed, now it is a subscription-based thing, so I apologize. You can't just go click it. But it was a fantastic article, and basically the essence of it was that the Phillies with these analytics told the pitchers and players what to do, but never really taught them or showed them how to do it. They basically looked at the information and said, hey, fastball's up in the zone, get these people out. Well, the guy they're telling it to do it is Zach Eflin, who's a heavy ball, 2-seam guy, low 90s, down in the zone, ground ball pitcher, not a strikeout pitcher, and they're telling him to pitch up in the zone. Okay, well, how do I do that, coach? I haven't done that in my entire life. It's not how I got to the big leagues. It's not how I got drafted. It's not what's gotten me here. Now I'm going to change everything and try to be successful? Absolutely not. Case in point, Mr. Eflin, we saw it. He tried it for like 6 weeks. He was horrible. Horrible. He got demoted to the minors, to the bullpen, all over it. And you know what he did? He looked in the mirror and said, screw him. I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to do what got me here. And he went back to being successful. First half of the season, Scott Kingery, what did he do? Went back to attacking baseballs in the zone, attacking pitches early in counts, not taking, trying to work pitches. He didn't get down 0-2, 1-2 every freaking time because he was swinging at that ball in the zone. Had an excellent first half. Now he fell off in the second half, yes. What happened there? We're not 100% sure, but he is getting his eyes checked. That came out recently, and I was like, are you kidding me? He said it's getting blurry, so I understand that's a thing. I guess I shouldn't be making fun of it if it's true, but like, dude, you don't know that you can't see? Don't you get like physicals or like eye exams? Can't you like call the trainer down to the doctor and be like, hey, walk over there, put up a number of fingers. I can't see it. Let's do something here. Like, come on, man. Why are we trying to play through this stuff? So I don't know. That was a little bit of a rant. I have some structure here. Started with Gabe Kapler, and then I just got hot. So I said, heck it, let's roll. So if they do move on from Gabe, I want to give you guys a few names to look at, a few I don't like. I don't want any of the old heads. You know, no disrespect to the old heads. But Buck Showalter of the Orioles. Yeah, is that a baseball team, Dylan? The Orioles? Are they new? Yeah, he's not. I appreciate that. The Orioles. Yeah, that's a good one. But Joe Madden from the Cubs. Buck Showalter. Clint Hurdle was in with the Pirates. I almost said the Padres. The Pirates. Joe Girardi. He'd probably be the best of the bunch out of all those old heads, but still, I don't know. Mike Scioscia, oh gosh, please no. Brad Ausmus got canned after a year. I think the tough part is with the Phils is they can't go first-time manager again because of what just happened with Gabe. Because they went the new analytic, the new up-and-coming, kind of hot commodity type of thing. And I think he never truly earned that respect in the locker room because he never really held players accountable. He would always just tell them, you got to do better or do better tomorrow. Like, no, you got to sit somebody down. They don't run out. They don't do this. You got to sit them down. So it's tough because some of the names to keep an eye on are David Ross, former catcher. He's currently doing, I believe it is Sunday Night Baseball, or he does baseball for ESPN. He's an analyst. Raul Ibanez, ex-Philadelphia Philly. So Raul, you guys remember that one. He was fun here, but he's well-respected and looked at as a future manager in the MLB. And then a guy outside the box here. I'm just going to throw the name out. Could be nothing. Or you guys could look at me in a couple weeks and be like, dude, you're a genius. It is Joe Espada. Now, the reason this isn't going to happen soon is because he's currently on the Astros bench. He's been a coach for the Astros the last 2 years. And before that, he was with the Yankees under Joe Girardi. So the guy's been a part of winning baseball for the better part of 5 to 10 years with the Yankees and Astros. And even these past 2 years with what the Astros have done with analytics and taking players from other teams and turning them into machines, a la Ryan Presley, buddy of mine, and somebody who you've heard on the show in the past, who we interviewed, and we talked about Houston and all those things. But they are able to look at the analytics and dissect them and translate them into a way where these players can digest it and then put it into action on the field. Basically the complete opposite of what I said the Philadelphia Phillies are doing, because the Phillies are getting it going, hey, you got to do this. Guys are going, how? And they're going, we don't know, but you got to do it. Okay, cool. Thanks, coach. Sweet, bro. You know what I mean? So this guy has seen it from Hinch. Alex Cora, manager of the Red Sox, used to be on Houston's bench. He was a first-time guy, so he's a little green for my liking, and I do kind of want that guy who's able to come in and has been there and done it before. But if you really are looking at this analytics wave, it limits your search to 5 to 7 teams, because you can't hire somebody from a crap team if you're trying to be in the forefront. And I say crap team, it may not be performance, but people know out there. Okay, so I mean, I'll list a couple for you hardcore baseball fans. But the Houston Astros, the Los Angeles Dodgers, the New York Yankees, the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, the Oakland Athletics, Moneyball. They're still in the playoffs. The Devil Rays and Athletics are in the playoffs, and they get like 2,000 people at their games. They have no money. The Phillies are spending $175 million, 500. Tampa Bay Rays can't sell tickets for peanuts. Playoffs. Oakland A's, Coliseum. It's a horrible stadium. Nobody likes going and or playing there. Playoffs. It's crazy. Hire somebody from these teams, please. Maybe the Indians, maybe the Red Sox. That's it. That's all you get. Do not get me, we promoted so-and-so for coach. And even if it goes higher than that, like I mentioned, if Gabe does stick around, and you got to let go of Klentak, the GM, too, because after this year, they're saying we're going to compete, and you didn't compete. So you either put it on the manager or you put it on yourself, because it's either the players who you put together or the manager to coach them. So Klentak, I think you got to pick Gabe or both of you, dude. I'm just telling you. I know this is your first gig at this, but, that's how it works, man. It's either the players or the coach. Pick one. I know which one you can pick. All right? Come on. I know you're listening right now, not doing anything else on a Tuesday afternoon. You're currently locked into Facebook watching me talk to you. Let's move on from Gabe Kapler, okay? Thank you. I appreciate it. So, now that we got that straight, everybody, that's good. Okay, so everybody relax. We got it. Me and Matt are good. But plenty of questions, because even if they do move on from the manager, what do they do with Aaron Nola? They keep Aaron Nola. Now, what do they do with Aaron Nola? Let me rephrase that. Who do they pair with Aaron Nola? Because you have Jake Arrieta under contract, but you can't look at Arrieta as more than a 4, a 5. He's being paid like a 2 or a 3, but the performance is a 3, 4, 5. He's another year older, another surgery done. I mean, you can't just count on him coming back and dialing it up. It's not what happens. So you got Jason Vargas on a cheap option, but are you serious? You're really going to run back with Jason Vargas? Again, the fans will be up in arms if this happens and they bring back Vargas. So you need a 2-starter, a 3-starter, heck, maybe even a 4-starter to compete with Arrieta, Vargas, and probably Eflin as your 5, because I've seen all I need to see out of Pivetta. I've seen all I need to see out of Velasquez. Okay, we're moving on from those people. But the problem is you're going to have to buy these people because we don't have the arms. We haven't drafted well in the last decade, which is why we suck right now, because we have to buy all of our pieces because nobody's ready to go in the minors because we draft like crap. But we have two people, Alec Baum at third base, Spencer Howard on the mound. Spencer Howard finished in Reading last year, finished strong in the playoffs, a quality start against Trenton, against a big league pitcher on the other side who was on a rehab assignment. He's since gone down to the AFL, the Arizona Fall League, dialed it up in a couple of starts. So worst case, he starts at AAA. Honestly, I think he's going to start in the big leagues. It's really up to him in his spring. I mean, that's not up to the coach. It's going to be up to him. If the kid shows up, dials it up in the spring, put him on the squad. Yeah, you're going to have to, but he's the only other one. So you got those four. Either way, you're going to need at least two. And that's where, can you spend the $200 million on Garrett Cole? It's going to cost $200 million, guys. The guy's 30 years old. He's my age. I think he was my year coming out of UCLA, like number 1 overall. Another guy who went to Houston and just lit it up. He was in Pittsburgh. He was good. Yeah, he was good. Went to Houston. Next level, okay? Next level. Him and Verlander, Cy Young winners. They should just split it. Have them tie. They've both been unbelievable. Both stats, historical. Just have them tie, okay? Yeah, everybody collude. You vote for him, you vote for him. We'll keep it even. Nobody else even vote for anybody else. 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever. Just give it to them both. But the guy's going to make $30 million a year over 6 years, 7 years. I mean, look at what Patrick Corbin got. He's going to get more. So you're looking at 7 and 225, 30. That's too much money. Oh, God, that's too much money. But you don't have a choice. Because you're telling me with this Bryce Harper acquisition, you're going to give JT Realmuto probably over $100 million over 4 or 5 years, 20 to 25 a year. You need an arm to put with Nola. Nola, you stole Nola. You signed him cheap. Even if he performs like he did this year and not last year, he's still cheap. So you stole Nola for 5 years, which means if you go Cole, where's the money for everybody else? The rest of the pitching staff, not only just the starters, 3, 4, and 5. You need an entire bullpen. They gotta redo the entire bullpen, guys. This team, oh my God, they have so many issues, guys. They can't go Garrett Cole. They have to either go Wheeler from the Mets and Strasburg. I think those are your like 2 second-level guys. Strasburg's got 4 years, $100 million left. So if he opts out, he's getting more than that. So he's going to get $150. Wheeler may get $150. Or you got to go that third level. You go guys like Cole Hamels for 2 to 3 years, $15, $20 million. Guys like Madison Bumgarner, 2 to 3 years, $15, $20 million. And a name to look at like Jake Odorizzi, I wrote down from Minnesota, or Kyle Gibson, his teammate, are going to want those 2, 3, 4 year deals. But even that is just, it doesn't strike fear into anybody. If you run out with Nola, Mad Bum, Hamels, and Odorizzi, like, yeah, it was good maybe 4 years ago. I'm not saying they stink now, but like it's not the top dog. And if you spend that money, like I touched on the bullpen guys, I got it written down here. Tommy Hunter, Pat Neshek, Juan Nicasio, Nick Vincent, Mike Morin, and Blake Parker, all gone. That's 7 people who were in your major league bullpen who aren't going to be back next year. It's just there's nobody coming back. Hector Neris is the only one. You got Alvarez maybe from the left side. Adam Morgan probably be back. Maybe Sir Anthony Dominguez. David Robertson won't be back because he had the surgery, so you probably won't see him at all the next year. And none of those people are striking fear into any of the hearts of hitters. And we're not the only one with bullpen concerns across the league because you got your top guys, Aroldis Chapman, Dylan Betances, a few other top-end guys, but there's going to be bidding wars for them. And if you're bidding war for, starting pitching, you're not going to be in it for relief pitching. You're going to have to pick which one you're going to spend the money on. It's got to be pitching, and it's got to be starting pitching. If they don't do anything else but spend upwards of $300, $400 million on starting pitching this offseason, I will be happy because they need every bit of it. But we touched on it briefly, the lineup, guys, ladies and gents. Got to extend Realmuto. Got to get a backup catcher. Andrew Knapp, not cutting it. I give it to you this year. You got your service time. But, dude, got to move on. I'm sorry. Second and third base, what are we doing here? I read a recent article that said Gene Segura could move from shortstop to third base next year, but who the hell are they putting at shortstop then? Who's ready to play short? I don't think any of these kids are ready to play short, and I may have to dig in a little bit, or they're going to make another move outside of the organization. But the idea was you either spend on the pitcher or you spend on Rendon, who with the Washington Nationals this year had close to an MVP caliber season. He'll finish top 3 or 5 in that with Bellinger and Yelich probably in the mix, either one of them winning that award. But he's going to be $180, $200 million, probably more, $250, maybe Nolan Arenado type of range. I think he got 8 and $240, $250, something like that. So that's where Rendon's going to be. They can't spend on everybody, and they have all of these holes because they drafted like crap, and it's finally catching up with them. They had all of this rebuild, all of these top picks, and they just missed on too many of them for them to compete this year. And that's why the Braves rebuild is light years ahead of the Phillies, because they have all of this young stud talent that's going to be cheap, which allows them to spend the money on Josh Donaldson, 20-some million for a year. Spend the money on Dallas Keuchel for $15 million for half a summer. And you got Acuna, who's just signed a long-term, I think it was $100 million, but that's super cheap for him. And all these arms coming up, and the Phillies don't have the arms. They've missed on every one of these pitchers they've taken and even traded for, because Velasquez didn't turn out to be anything. Pivetta didn't turn out to be anything. Eflin's really the only one who may stick around as a major league starter out of all of the different moves that were made by both Amaro and Clentak. And it's a long offseason. Keeping a lookout for an emergency podcast either way with Gabe Kapler. If he's back or not, we're going to have one on Too Close to Call. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, everything you're listening to out there, that's where we're at. Hit us up on Instagram, Facebook. You can catch it that way. USALA Media, USALA Radio as well. USALA Internet Radio. Too Close to Call runs right now. Reruns on the weekends. But for everybody listening out there, do that. Do me a favor. Click subscribe, rate, review the podcast. Help us out. Follow us, social media, USALA, and Too Close to Call. But that'll wrap it up for Phillies talk. It's just, I don't know. I was expecting a heck of a lot more, and that's the 9th year in a row of non-playoff baseball here in Philadelphia. So another lonely October for your baseball fans. But thanks again for listening, guys. We'll take one more brief break, come back up, and we'll wrap this up here in the last couple minutes. I appreciate you guys listening to Too Close to Call.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. 30% of Americans who are planning home improvements of $5,000 or more will pay for those renovations with a high-interest credit card. That may not be a great idea. A better idea may be to take cash out of your home with a Quicken Loans 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.125%. APR 4.22%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rate subject to change. 8.88% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Welcome back, everybody, to the final segment here of Too Close to Call on USALA Media and USALA Radio, your Philadelphia sports talk show, episode. What do we got here? I don't know. I fucked that up. It's okay, but we're going to keep it rolling. We're rolling. We're 52 minutes in. I'm talking to myself. No, I'm not. I'm talking to you guys out there. First of all, I've seen the comments on Facebook for these last couple segments. You guys talking about Phillies not firing the manager because Major League Baseball doesn't want it done until after the wild card games. I haven't heard that. That could be a good call, though. They don't like to steal the spotlight from those games. So I see that comment as well. And then the gentleman who posted something about Rhys Hoskins figuring it out. It's tough, man, but he's got to do it. Big league ball player, got to figure it out. So thanks for commenting. Thanks for watching. These last 7 minutes or so, going to be brief because it hasn't started yet, but I wanted to bring up your Philadelphia Flyers, the Broad Street Bullies. They are currently overseas. Czech Republic. They open up this Friday in Prague. How many of you Flyers fans are over there checking that out? That'd be a cool trip, man. But they needed more than one game. I can't fly that far just for one game. You know what I'm saying? It's too far for a 2.5-hour hockey game. It just didn't make sense, but thought about it. And hey, Daryl from Saskatchewan, checking in on Facebook. Appreciate you listening, man. Go ahead. Click on Too Close to Call. Subscribe. And what are you thinking about the Flyers, Daryl? Let us know. But 1-6 in the preseason, guys. It's the preseason. I know in football, I don't even look at it at all. Baseball, spring training, totally in the trash. A little bit difficult to do with 1-6 in hockey, but I think you have to. I think you got to put it all to the side. Honestly, they're playing line combinations in scenarios and situations on the ice, such as in their own zone or in the offensive zone, because they want to see what these kids can do, how they react and relate, to certain scenarios. Again, if they're trailing in their own end, put the third line out there. Why not? Let's see how the kids respond. Or if we need a goal, why don't we put these guys on the ice and maybe not Giroux and Voracek? So I think there's a little bit of that going on, but there is part of me that says new coaching system, new voice. They're trying to implement new things, and they're not figuring it out, guys. And this team's been known for slow starts, and we just can't have one this year. We really can't with the new coach. But I have the lines here in front of me that it looks like they're going to go with in Game 1. We had some injuries. Nolan Patrick, former second overall, should be second-line center, down to third line due to the signing of Kevin Hayes. But he's not going to go altogether. He's been diagnosed with migraine issues. People were thinking it was concussion because it was, hockey loves this, right? Upper body injury. It's either upper body or lower body. They never tell you what it is. So he had an upper body injury. However, he played at the Flyers golf event. So what's wrong, upper body, if we're swinging golf clubs? That leaves kind of the head, and a lot of people were thinking concussion, but seems to be a migraine issue where hopefully we'll figure it out because, I've had migraines, my wife's had migraines, and I know it's nothing to F with when it comes to even trying to play sports, and people, have played football, have had concussions kind of even after their career dealing with headaches, so I know it's something you got to get situated before you get out there. It's just, super inconvenient, obviously, but to start. So that basically throws Scott Lawton from the fourth line up to the third line. First line, you got Giroux, Couturier, TK, everybody back, everybody ready to roll. I like Giroux on the wing. He could have played center. It was a thought there. Him and Hayes, 2-3, but I like him. I need him and Coots together. Can't split those guys up. They dominate. Let that go. Lindblom, Hayes, Voracek, another top line. Another line you're not going to mess with, I don't think, all year. Top six there. Really, really solid for the Flyers. Even across the board, across the NHL. You could put that top six with, a lot of other teams and scoring goals that way. And then that's where, obviously, Hayes had dropped Patrick down to the third line, so you're thinking your top nine were going to be strong across the board. But it still is Scott Lawton. He's not Nolan Patrick, but he's an NHL guy. He knows how to play a full 90-foot game, all the way up and down the ice. But JVR, Lawton, and Joel Farabee, one of the kids I talked about, one of the injections with youth. Morgan Frost sent back down to the AHL to Lehigh Valley. That's okay. He's going to get some seasoning. Should work on his game a little bit. Farabee did seem to be a little bit further along, both physically and kind of in his game, winning puck battles along the boards, not getting physically kind of thrown off pucks and that type of thing. And then our fourth line of Raffel, Bunneman, and Twarzinski. We got to learn how to say his name because he's come up out of nowhere. But he'll be the new Van de Velde for me, where you go, who the heck's that guy? All right, cool. So Michael Raffel scored 20 goals before in a season. He's now on the fourth line, so a little bit more depth from your Flyers. When they get Patrick back, going to be even more scary offensively for sure. But like I said, over in Prague, then they go to the West Coast. So a tough start for this team, and we need points for sure. But defensively, Provorov and Niskanen, Ghost and Braun, Sanheim and Myers, with your 7th and 8th being Hag and Morin. I like that, guys. I like the left-right balance. I like the skill to stay at home balanced with Ghost and Braun, and Niskanen and Provy are both puck-moving defensemen who can get the puck out of their own zone and transition into the offensive game a lot better than people like Andrew McDonald or others that we've had on the blue line in the past. So if they can get out of their own zone, create some opportunities in transition, get the puck deep, kind of crash, I think we're going to see a lot better of a Philadelphia Flyers team this year, because that was the tough part last year, was getting out of their own zone, even with the goalie to defensive opportunity. So goalie, I touched on it. I buried the lead. Carter Hart, he is our savior. He is here, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, 2019, the first year for our goaltender playing the entirety of the season, and somebody that we can hopefully rely on for the next 10, 15 years. Oh God, I hope so. But He's been good early on. He gave up, I think it was 3 goals in the first period last night to a Swiss national team. But overall, look for big things out of Carter Hart and Coach Elaine Vigneault. If you guys aren't watching this Behind the Glass Philadelphia Flyers on the NHL Network, big fan of Coach V. Honestly, didn't know a lot about him. Knew he was a little bit of an a-hole from his time with the Rangers, but now you're seeing behind the scenes. Love it. Okay. Honestly, guys, I grew up in football. I love the F-bombs in practice. It's accountable. It's right there. He's all over these guys. He wants them playing fast. He wants them playing hard. He needs them going. It's a new speed game in the NHL with all these rules, interference, defensive holding. There's a lot of space and a lot of opportunity. If you can go tape to tape and get the puck moving, you're going to have chances. And there was a time where he said they circled the puck for 30 seconds and didn't have a shot on goal, and that's unacceptable. We can't, even if we have the puck and their zone for that long. We need shots. We need opportunities. We need chances. It's not good enough just to dictate puck possession and dictate kind of the flow of the game. We need to score and put the puck in the net. So, but we got a game Friday. We can touch on that next Tuesday. Appreciate you guys listening here in Too Close to Call. It's wrapping up, coming up on 2 o'clock. Daryl, once again, thanks for commenting on Facebook. That's awesome. I appreciate it. Let's see. Morin really needs to play this year. I know. I'm a Sam Morin guy myself, so I'm with you. I hope he does suit up a couple times because I wouldn't mind some fisticuffs going in there. And, who's going to stand up for Giroux or TK and those pretty boys when they get beat up a little bit? But I've touched on it before. Too Close to Call. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, USALA Media, USALA Radio, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of the above. Subscribe, follow, like us, comment. I appreciate you guys. I do the podcast outside of the show. Look for those pretty much daily. You can comment on all our posts. We'll interact just like we do here on the show. Sean, thanks for coming in, brother. I appreciate it. But call us up. We'll talk to you soon. See you guys. Peace.
Get a bag of dope and a quarter roll. Oh, most all of my niggas got the same, and we gonna roll it all up the smoke. And then they reefer hydro. We know the cut, so fuck them popo. Toss out the giggle, then roll with a grown the same old. Running through the alley, get in the alley. How about the second the sundown? No front wrong.
The Starlight Lounge presents an evening with the Progressive Box.
Old moon, yeah. That's Hugo, tickling the ivories. He just saved by bundling home and auto with Progressive. Gonna finally buy a ring for that gal of yours, Hugo? Send her my condolences. Hi-oh! This next one's for you two. There's a burglar in my heart. Thank you.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.